Okay, Obama hit on a lot of different subjects: healthcare, childcare, the economy, education, the environment, and a truly united States. Which of these are most important to you?
Well, they all seem as important topics, but a truly united States is probably the most important one, because whatever you're united, any problem that comes, like, we can overcome it, because we're a great people. So if all of us together, we can do anything, basically.
And what do you think is the most important to the country?
A truly united people, because honestly, like, whatever education, healthcare, all these things don't matter if it's just individually based, because if we're not united, then everybody's going to still, like, one's going to be doing better than the other. But if we're all united, we're all going to, like, care for each other, and we're all going to be doing good. Like, nobody's going to be doing bad.
All right.
To me, the one that interests me the most is foreign policy. So as a debater, I know a lot about it, and I think there's a lot of things that can be done in the short term that are important. So things like how we interact on an international scale with U.S. leadership, things like securing our economy with new deals like the Trade Promotion Authority, which would undermine or allow for trade deals with large blocks of countries such as like 15 countries, and in Asia and most of the EU are significant and will have large impacts in the future. That's what I'm most interested in. I think in terms of long-term important to me, education is the one that worries me the most, just because as a high schooler I see a lot of the effects of education, and I see how it's going to, or looking at the college process, I see how it's going to affect my future, and I think that improving that for everyone will be really useful for the U.S. in the long term and allow us to solve the other problems such as like climate change or environment or other things, because the better students we have now, the more we'll be able to deal with those problems in the future.
And kind of tying in with that, a different question on here. What do you think about the free community college?
The free community college?
Yes. Do you know much about it? If not, we can just look that over.
I know a little bit about it. It's interesting, but I haven't seen any specific proposals about how it will be implemented, which are kind of important to how the action happens. Implementation of policy is often just as important, if not more important, than the idea of having the policy itself. So, while it's a cool idea, if there's no good way to do it, it might be bad, or it might be kind of bad to try it. So we should make sure that we have a good way to do it, and then make sure that's worth the cost that we have to do that. But at first, it seems like a good idea.
All right.
Personally, the environment, because it's like global warming is happening, and if you don't think it's happening, it's ignorant of you. This has been like I can't even remember what year in a row that the average temperature has been 2 degrees higher. It's like, if you can't see that it's happening, then you're just stupid. So I think it's important that we do something about it, because it's happening fast. I mean, to take action, like I said before. Actually take action this time.
And what do you think is most important to the country as a whole?
I think a few of them. So healthcare is really important, because people have been bashing on Obamacare, and it's not there to be it's not negative. People, I think they're being negative about it because, honestly, I know this sounds stupid, but I think people have been bashing it because it has the word Obama in it, and there's people that just dislike Obama. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, there's people that just dislike him, and I think having that his name in it is just negative connotations towards it. But healthcare is something that affects everyone, so it's important to everyone in the United States. And then what was the other? The economy. So obviously we've recovered from the recession, but we need to keep recovering. So that's an important thing to always keep there. And then what was the last thing? The true United States?
Truly United States, yes.
People have kind of lost the sense of the American dream, which I think is just because of the way the world's evolving, and with technology and the I can't remember the word is. The people used to think of a family as a husband, wife, 2 kids, white picket fence. Just because the American dream is changing doesn't mean we don't have to like remember that it's there, and like people like come to this country because they want the American dream, and Americans just have to remember that now. And I think that's something that happens a lot, but it always comes around like when something big happens. So I don't know, maybe this year will be one of those years where people will like remember that.
On a personal level, turning the page is just being a senior and going off to college and a new stage in your life. In terms of for the country, personally I've grown up, and so grown up in the last 17 years obviously, so a lot of what I remember is just before 2008 and then after 2008, so it seems like we've always been in that kind of like state that we kind of talk about, so I don't remember like the beforehand as clearly as I remember like the 2008 election, the crash and everything. So like recovering from that is like almost like a new experience to see on a personal level, because I know like I was around back before then, but I don't remember it as like much, or at least not when I was like aware of things like foreign policy or the like economy or like having a job myself or any types of those things.
Just like starting over, having a new beginning. Basically just like all the mistakes that have happened don't matter anymore, just like forget the past and focus on the future.
So I think for this year's State of the Union, it means to, instead of last year when we had a government shutdown, it means to like that government shutdown was because we couldn't come to a decision on whatever subject it was, and I think this year it's going to be more of like actually taking action and getting stuff done so that we can avoid things like that.
Key points.
Not very well. Not because it's Obama, because I think that State of the Unions are always much more about rhetoric and inspiring people than actual policy proposals. Additionally, while Obama said several specific things he wanted to happen, I don't think he outlined as much of a plan about how to get there. So he said things like pass defense authorization, but he didn't explain like where exactly the defense authorization should happen, or like what the borders he wants are drawn, or what the borders he wants drawn would be, so how far we would go, which would be important things to like negotiating with Congress. He talked about things like Cuba, but didn't explain like that Congress should repeal the embargo, but didn't really say much more on that. He talked a lot about things like climate change and the economy, and gave answers in general terms, which are like inspiring and sound really good, but without as much explanation about what specific things he wants and how those are specific things his opponents want. So he talked about things like, this is better than just one single pipeline, or all the scientists agree with me, but he could have spent like a few more sentences on each of those, like refuting the opponent's positions and like giving a clear policy of his own, and he didn't do that as much. If he had said like, when he was talking about the jobs, for example, he said this is more than just like one pipeline, but he didn't really say why one pipeline was bad. So I'm kind of left wondering just as like, without any other knowledge, I'm kind of left wondering, well, Obama's policies seem cool, but what's wrong with the pipeline? Like, why not? Why is it bad? And you could just explain that quickly, and that would have been much more clear to the audience about why his positions are better.
He seemed pretty confident in that speech on Tuesday night, so I think he's gonna do well this year and next year. It's his last 2 years, like you gotta go out with a bang. He's gotta do something big, and obviously he seems confident if he's like saying to the Republicans like, yeah, I know because I won 2 terms. Like he's just so like upfront about it, and he's ready to take action, I feel like. So I don't know, I'm excited to see
How old do you
he's
think,
gonna do.
kind of going on, how old do you think he's gonna do with like a Republican majority?
I think during the speech, the way he kind of like acted out towards them made people think like, oh, he's just not gonna like cooperate. But during the speech, he was saying, I'm gonna like work with issues that are partisan, so it's not like 2 different issues. It's like we're trying to work together, not make this bipartisan, because like I said before, last year there was the shutdown because of the Republicans like arguing with the Democrats. We want to avoid that, so we're gonna have to work together, and I think Obama like sees that we're gonna have to work together, both Democrats and Republicans. So
I think like he has to do it, basically. Not even like if he wants to anymore, but like he said it, like he's gonna do it probably.
All All right, cool. What was okay? Another question coming at you. This is like more lighthearted. What do you think was his best zinger?
The one where he's like, when he's like, I'm done with running any more new campaigns, and he's like, and all the Republicans start clapping, and then he's like, because I won both of them, and then like,
I was like, yes.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
cool.
probably it.
Thank you.